big like for MMA community, it's gonna be big fights, you know? And people want this fight, and if UFC want this fight, and we can do this.
He's from Benidorm. He's fake. He's so fake, like half of his followers on Instagram are bots. He's just a McGregor copycat, and I'm getting sick of him.
I feel Arman have to be next because this guy deserves, you know. He did like mistake when he was supposed to fight with me. He have to fight for the title.
Считаю, что Мадалена самый сложный соперник в исламской карьере. Это мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов.
И даже не Илья, если бы это бой был бы.
Ну, мое личное мнение, во-первых, Мадалена 2 раза больше.
Islam Makhachev just sent shockwaves through the MMA world with a single decision that no one saw coming. After weeks of speculation and online chatter, the reigning UFC lightweight champion confirmed that he's open to facing Ilia Topuria in what could become the most talked about fight card in modern history, a potential UFC event hosted at the White House. News instantly set off a storm across social media and within fight circles as fans began to imagine two champions from different divisions stepping into the most unlikely arena of all.
ისლამის დამარცხების შემთხვევაში დამარცხებულ ისლამთან გირჩევნია ვთქვა შემდეგი ბრძოლა თუ პირობითად გამარჯვებულ ცარუკიენთან.
მოკლედ ვერ გავიხსენე სიტყვა, მაგრამ ისლამი თუ დამარცხდა დაბრუნდეს დაღესტანში, ავის ფერმაში. თუ მოიგო კიდე წყალსა ხო? ხო, წყარი მომწყესოს. უცაა.
In his latest comments to ESPN, Makhachev made his position crystal clear. He said that if the fans want it and the UFC is ready to make it happen, he's all in. For him, this isn't just another bout, it's about doing something historic for the sport. Islam emphasized that both he and Topuria share the same ambition of taking MMA to a completely new level, and he believes no other matchup would be bigger than this one if it happens at the White House.
If we talk about our fights, I have good fights now, and I know he's gonna fight soon, and we'll see what's gonna be happening. You know, he want to fight in White House, and I also want to be there.
Is that the biggest fight that they could?
I
make
think,
for you,
yeah, for the like, it's gonna be like big like for MMA community, it's gonna be big fights, you know, and people want this fight, and if UFC want this fight, and we can do this.
Makhachev's words carried the calm confidence that has always defined his persona. He reminded everyone that while Ilia Topuria might be on a rise of his own, Islam's focus remains on legacy fights that truly move the needle. He knows Topuria is busy preparing for his next defense, but Makhachev's message was simple. When the time comes, he'll be ready. The statement didn't come out of nowhere. Over the past few weeks, Ilia Topuria himself had hinted at something monumental brewing behind the scenes. The undefeated Spanish origin star has been vocal about his desire to headline what could be the first ever UFC event held on US government grounds. In a playful but confident tweet, Topuria challenged the world to bet against him being the main event at the White House. For him, this isn't just about defending his title, it's about making history. The tweet instantly caught fire. Fans began speculating that if such an event were to materialize, Islam Makhachev would be the perfect counterpart to Ilia Topuria. Two champions, two dominant styles, and one unprecedented stage, and now the possibilities are endless.
But I wanted to ask about the January card in Paramount, and what do you have anything special planned for that, and when do you start putting that?
Literally today. Matchmaking was today, and we started working on the first Paramount card today.
Okay. I'm not expecting you to say anything, but do you think there's a chance Ilia Topuria could end up on that card? Big star.
It's a possibility.
But as the hype built around Topuria's next move, another name re-entered the conversation: Paddy Pimblett. The British lightweight, known for his outspoken personality, reignited his long-standing feud with Topuria in classic Paddy fashion. In a recent interview with Marca, Pimblett didn't hold back when discussing his rival. He accused Topuria of being fake, of building his reputation on moments of controversy rather than merit. According to Paddy, their altercation in a hotel lobby years ago was what really made Topuria famous, not his performances inside the octagon.
I really like Charles, but what the fuck was that game plan, lad? You know what I mean? Stand in front of him and get punched in the face. First 20 seconds he did a little bit, teeped him, leg kicked, and I was thinking, oh, we could be in for a tough night for Topuria, and then Charles got it once and just started swinging with him. But when he was walking out, I did turn to Graham and say, He looked nervous.
Yeah.
And when Ilia walked out, he was just smiling. I don't know what, as I say, I'd love to know what their game plan was. Because that was just, like, it was half embarrassing. What are you doing, just standing in the middle and swinging punches with him when he's a top-class boxer and he's got power? It's just, it blew.
Paddy's comments didn't stop there. He took another jab by accusing Topuria of having fake social media followers, calling him the fakest person in MMA. For Pimblett, Ilia Topuria is nothing more than a Conor McGregor imitation, a fighter mimicking the Irishman's confidence and persona without the same originality.
Made himself famous off the back of my name. He wouldn't even be a champ now if it wasn't for him jumping on my coattails. And now he thinks he's too good to fight me. He's not even from Madrid. He's not even from Spain. He's from Benidorm. He's fake. He's so fake, like half of his followers on Instagram are bots. He's just a McGregor copycat, and I'm getting sick of him. He's a German. He's not even Spanish, he's not even Georgian, he was born in Germany, he's German.
While these verbal attacks drew headlines, Islam Makhachev seemed completely unfazed. When asked about the idea of Topuria facing Pimblett instead, Islam brushed it off almost immediately. To him, Paddy isn't even close to being a real challenge for Ilia. Speaking calmly to ESPN MMA, Makhachev pointed out that the Brit's record doesn't exactly support the level of hype surrounding him.
We don't know what's next for Ilia, they haven't announced it, but it kind of feels like Paddy. What do you think about that? Do you think Paddy is like a real challenge?
I feel Arman have to be next because this guy deserves, you know. He did like mistake when he was supposed to fight with me. He have to fight for the title.
Islam listed Paddy's limited resume, pointing out that apart from his win over Tony Ferguson, a veteran well past his prime, there wasn't much substance to his rise. He suggested that fighters like Arman Tsarukyan or Justin Gaethje were far more deserving of high-profile opportunities. For Makhachev, the idea of Paddy fighting Topuria was more entertainment than sport. He made it clear that while Paddy might bring excitement, he doesn't bring competition.
Maybe Arman, maybe Gaethje, but not Paddy for sure.
Not Paddy, why not?
Man, I don't know who Paddy beat who, like Tony Ferguson, who else did it?
Chandler.
Everybody beat Chandler.
No, he hasn't really
can
earned
do
it.
some things, but I don't see big chance. Not big challenge for it.
That level of honesty is exactly what defines Islam Makhachev's character. He doesn't chase attention or headlines, he chases legacy. And his coach, Javier Mendez, seems to share that same mindset. In a recent interview with Thunderpig, Mendez revealed that both he and Khabib Nurmagomedov have already discussed the idea of an Islam versus Topuria fight at the White House, but only if Islam successfully defeats his current opponent, Jack Della Maddalena.
But I would like to see that fight, to be honest with you, because too much has been built up on that. And Topuria passed the test of what he needed to do. Now it's just a matter of, you know, can the UFC see the dollar signs that one would create if Islam is to become successful? But we've got to be successful first. So for me, that's what I would want to see.
I wonder if Topuria will still be I mean, he's got maybe a Paddy Pimblett or a Justin Gaethje next. Do you like Topuria's chances against those guys?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. I see him beating both of them.
Mendez explained that the matchup makes perfect sense for the future of MMA. He believes Ilia Topuria has the skills, power, and charisma to become one of the sport's next global stars, and a fight with Islam would be the ultimate cross-divisional super clash. According to Mendez, Topuria could even consider moving up to 170 pounds to make the fight happen. His confidence in Topuria's talent is clear, but his belief in Islam's ability to handle anyone is even stronger.
I'm gonna say something that might upset you. Why was it gonna upset me? I have my opinion too. After this fight, I do believe right now Ilia Topuria is the #1 pound-for-pound guy. I will say it's up for debate, and if people feel you're correct, you're correct. If Islam wins the welterweight, he's back to being #1 pound-for-pound. Yeah. But right to this moment, to this very day, Ilia Topuria is the #1 pound-for-pound. It's very hard to not say that.
Listen, this is like what Dana White said. It's not for him to decide, it's for the fans to decide. So it's not for me to say what, it's for the fans to decide. So if I say, oh, you're wrong, well, who cares what I say? The fans vote.
He stated that if Islam beats Jack Della Maddalena, this fight could be more than just talk. It could become a real discussion among the UFC's top decision makers. Mendez revealed that while they haven't yet spoken to manager Ali Abdelaziz about it, both he and Khabib agree that the matchup represents the perfect next step in Islam's career. He said, if we beat JDM, I'm sure this will be a topic of conversation the UFC will want to bring up, whether Topuria goes up a weight or not. I think it's definitely a 100% conversation that can be had. Islam Islam versus Topuria at the White House would be fantastic. I'm in. The legendary coach also shed light on why Islam Makhachev stands out even among elite fighters. According to Mendes, Islam's skill set is complete. He can dominate on the ground, in the clinch, and even in striking exchanges. Unlike Khabib, who relied heavily on grappling and ground control, Islam has developed into a well-rounded athlete capable of adapting to any style. Mendes emphasized that Islam doesn't need to take a fight to the mat to win. He can knock opponents out, as he has already proven against Charles Oliveira and Alexander Volkanovski.
He's good everywhere, and a lot of people underestimate how good he is, and when they get in there with him, it feels a different story, you know, like the guy can stand with you, he can take you to the ground and deal with you on the ground, and he's smart and he listens to his coaches, all his coaches. Whatever his coach tells him to do, he go out and he does it. You know, I remember him way back in the day. I used to have him spar with guys a little heavier than him, and it was like a remote control. I would tell him move this way, move that way, and he'd do it. It was unbelievable.
He's a perfect MMA
He's
fighter.
a perfect MMA fighter. He's a perfect student. You know, he's a perfect fighter. He is the perfect fighter.
For him, Islam represents evolution, a new generation of fighters who blend tactical precision with composure and power. That's exactly why Mendes isn't worried about where any potential fight takes place. Whether it's in a boxing range, kickboxing range, or on the mat, he believes Islam can control the outcome. That level of adaptability, he says, is what separates him from everyone else in the division.
Not doing their homework. I think people underestimate him because they're not doing their homework. If you're doing your homework, you better really look at this guy and go, damn, we're fighting pound for pound the number one. I don't care what anybody says. He's pound for pound number one in my eyes. I look at him as number one. I will continue to look at him as number one. And what I've seen in sparring, this first time I've seen him spar twice now, he's number one.
Still, not everyone inside Team Khabib sees Topuria as the biggest threat. Khabib Nurmagomedov himself recently offered a different perspective that turned a few heads. While most fans see a potential Makhachev versus Topuria bout as the ultimate super fight, Khabib believes Islam's current opponent, Jack Della Maddalena, poses a far greater danger.
Считаю, что Мадалена самый сложный соперник в Ислама карьере. Это мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов.
И даже не Илья, если бы это бой был бы.
Speaking candidly, Khabib explained that Maddalena's size, power, and striking ability make him a more challenging matchup than Topuria could ever be. He described Maddalena as the toughest opponent Islam has faced in his entire career, even more difficult than Charles Oliveira or Volkanovski. Khabib pointed out that Maddalena's frame, boxing precision, and scrambling skills give him unique advantages that could test Islam in new ways.
Ну, мое личное мнение, во-первых, Мадалена 2 раза больше, чем Илья.
Сопоставим.
Илья. Он 2 раза больше. Он выше, больше, ноги помощнее, корпус, бокс не хуже. И грэпплинг он возится очень хорошо, если вы смотрели.
According to him, if he had to prepare for Islam for either Topuria or Maddalena, he'd be far more concerned about Maddalena. His reasoning is simple. Maddalena is naturally bigger, hits harder, and is built to handle pressure differently. In contrast, Topuria, despite his explosive boxing and confidence, simply doesn't bring the same level of physical threat.
Для меня, если я, например, буду готовить Ислама против Илья или Мадалины, для меня больше будет волновать и волнует Мадалена.
This contrast in perspective inside the Team Khabib adds another interesting layer to the ongoing conversation. On one hand, Javier Mendes sees Topuria as the ideal next move for Islam's career, a fight that could transcend divisions and bring MMA into mainstream global discussion. On the other, Khabib views Maddalena as the real test, the kind of opponent who could push Islam to his absolute limits.
Big respect coming from Islam's team going into this one. And Khabib even acknowledged that he started following JDM a while back, knowing that potentially he'd be fighting Islam.
You know, they've got to this level because they know the sport and they know the game, and Islam and his team have the utmost respect for Jack, as we do for them. Islam is a phenomenal fighter. He's pound for pound number one in the world. He's made light work of just about everybody that's ever gone before him. The respect is mutual, and Jack's always asked me for the toughest fights he can possibly have. Jack does better the higher up of the standard is. You know, he raises his game to the level that he's fighting against, and I really believe that everyone's going to see the best version of Jack.
What's fascinating is that both views can coexist. For Islam Makhachev, facing Maddalena first gives him a chance to further solidify his legacy at welterweight. If he wins, a super fight against Ilia Topuria at the White House could be the defining moment of his career, not just as a champion, but as an ambassador for the sport.
It's the biggest fight for me in my career. It's the biggest fight, you know. Of course, when I fought for the title first time, and now it's like I think it's very different because how many we have a lot of UFC champions, but not much double champions. That's why I want to be one of them, and it's a biggest challenge for me.
Yeah, it's hard, right? I mean, this is...
It's very hard, yeah, it's very hard. And I deserve my chance, you know. I defend my belt more than everybody, and now it's new step.
The idea of a UFC card hosted at the White House might sound like fantasy, but it's one that UFC President Dana White has publicly hinted at before. The organization has long aimed to blend sport and spectacle, and staging an event at one of the most symbolic locations in the United States would be a landmark moment. For Makhachev and Topuria, it would represent far more than a title defense. It would be a global statement.
We're openly saying if we're going to put Conor on there that there's no title, unless you believe that Conor McGregor is going to demote himself. Your biggest star, regardless of belt, should be the main event. But in this case, if our biggest draw and our biggest star is not a champion or a contender, our biggest show will not contain a title, which makes it a little difficult down the road to go, this show's bigger than big. In fact, we got 2 titles up and nothing more important than a title fight. Not to mention, to book a card this far in advance is weird. If John Jones wanted to make nice with the company, there's a number of things that John can do. Nothing would trump John getting there and fighting. I won on the White House card, so I'm willing to fight in Vancouver in February. I'll work my way up. I'll prove that I'm the #1 contender. I want to show you. We've also got a fight that's sitting out there. You keep telling me what a huge fight Ilia versus Islam is. So does an Ilia versus Islam, champ versus champ, trump Conor versus anybody?
Behind the scenes, the possibility of such a fight also aligns with the UFC's growing push for international expansion. Topuria's rise has opened up new markets in Spain and Georgia, while Makhachev's dominance continues to drive MMA's popularity in the Middle East and Central Asia. Bringing those audiences together on an American stage could make for the most watched event in the promotion's history.
Gotta delete him from the rankings even. He's not even deserved to be in top 10. He beat last 3 guys. It was Chandler, he had 3 losses. It was Bobby Green, he had 3-4 losses. It was Tony Ferguson, he had 8 losses. That's crazy. And like, you wanna bring that guy to fight for the title? There's the graphic right there.
Meanwhile, Paddy Pimblett's comments serve as a reminder of how chaotic the lightweight division has become. While Islam focuses on world-shaking opportunities, Paddy continues to fight for recognition within the rankings. His loud personality ensures attention. But fighters like Islam and Topuria are operating on a different plane, one that's measured not by talk, but by legacy. He said, "No one would know Ilia Topuria if it wasn't for me. He made himself famous off the back of my name." Still, these storylines fuel one another. Paddy's constant jab at Topuria keeps both names trending. Ilia's tweet about White House main events add fuel to Islam's next move. Javier Mendez's belief in legacy fights keeps fans dreaming, while Khabib's realism keeps the team grounded. Together, they form the perfect storm of narratives, rivalry, ambition, and history, all colliding at once.
Paddy Pimblett did come in the cage tonight. Is that the fight that you want more than anything else?
Yes, that's the fight that I want, because with Charles, I had a little bit difficult situation because I really like the guy, you know. He's a really great human being. You can hate him. You always see him surrounded by his family, friends, teammates. He's an amazing human being. But at the end, I was like, this is competition. I have to do my job, and that's it. But with Paddy, I'm really gonna enjoy kicking his ass.
If all goes according to plan, and Islam defeats Madalena as expected, a clash with Topuria might become more than just fantasy. It could mark a new era for UFC, one where champions from different divisions challenge each other, not just for belts, but for cultural impact. And if that fight does take place at the White House, it would be a moment that transcends the sport entirely.
Jack is, like, he's a big fucking guy too, right?
That fight would be great also.
You versus Jack?
Yeah, I would love to fight him.
I saw Khabib said that he thinks that Jack is a harder fighter for Islam than you.
But he's gonna say that's the fight they have ahead. They're not gonna say, no, we are fighting a easier opponent than Ilia. He has to say that. There's always respect.
Of course.
How you cannot respect like people who's fighting for their dreams and they work hard. But another thing is that when it comes to the competition, me against you, I'm always gonna choose myself.
For now, Islam remains focused on the task ahead. He knows every victory brings him one step closer to that massive showdown, and as the MMA world watches the pieces fall into place, one thing is certain: whether it's Madalena, Topuria, or anyone else, Islam Makhachev is shaping a legacy that goes beyond weight classes and divisions. Because for him, it's never just about who he fights next, it's about how each fight changes the game itself. And when the cage door finally closes, whether in an arena, a stadium, or the White House lawn, Islam Makhachev will be ready to make history all over again.
Fuck, what? Another massive fight would be Ilia versus Islam too. Well, the other thing is too is that Islam moves up, and obviously if Islam won the title, you know, you immediately have a super fight with him and Ilia, so.
In a sport where rivalries come and go, Islam Makhachev's rise continues to define the new era of MMA. Whether his next step leads to the White House or another world title, one thing's certain: the story is far from over. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for all the latest updates, only here on Boxism.